Egyptians actually look like this. Scientists have found mummy after mummy after mummy of all of these Egyptian pharaohs or kings that look like this, with orange or blonde hair. These kings had the R1A haplogroup, Aryan.
Okay, are we doing this? I mean, really, are we doing this? Okay, let's do this. Okay, first of all, let's address the elephant in the room, and that's the genetics that you quoted. I say quoted, but I mean that loosely. So first of all, you said that all pharaohs come back with the haplogroup R1A. I think that's just a complete lie. I don't think I've actually seen any pharaohs come back as R1A. In fact, the only pharaoh that I could think that comes back with the R1 gene was King Tut in his paternal lineage, and he's been quoted to be R1B. Now, though R1B is found at a very high frequency in Europe, it is also found at a very high frequency in Central Africa, particularly in the Chad region, in Cameroon, and amongst the Fulani people, spread throughout East, West, and Central Africa. So it's much more likely that King Tut got his R1B lineage from a local rather than a foreign source. Now, this is actually a pharaoh, and this is Pharaoh Ramesses II, and his red hair isn't natural, I'm afraid. His red hair actually comes from henna. He died when he was 92 years old, and as you can imagine, being 92, it's very unlikely he preserved any of his natural hair colour. It's actually been tested and found to be that the red tone was caused by the use of a plant called henna, which was used to provide colour to people of that region. Now you might ask, why would they be seeking to get red hair? And actually, many have postulated it's because he had red hair at birth. But actually, the truth is because henna was used in combination with another plant called indigo. However, indigo does not have the stability of henna and doesn't quite last as long. And when henna and indigo are combined, it creates black hair, which would have been a normal hair colour for Ramesses and most ancient Egyptians in that time. Now, let's say Ramesses did have red hair, and that is not out of the question. Well, the simple answer is then he would have simply been a red-haired African. All Africans actually do have red hair. When the eumelanin destabilizes and reveals our pheomelanin, normally Africans have red hair beneath our black hair. And any black person will tell you that our hair does start to turn brown, and if long enough, it can actually start turning red. Now, this image, unfortunately, has been photoshopped. It is Queen T, but that is not her natural colour. I've provided a natural colour for you, and you can see here her skin is very dark and her hair is actually brown. Now, once again, I've already explained that brown hair is very natural, particularly when our hair has been sun exposed. Queen T's mummy was particularly badly treated or poorly treated, and you can see from these other queens, such as Queen Nojmet, shown here, Queen Amos Nefertari, shown here. You can see here all of their hair has been braided. Now, the braids are not present in Queen T's hair, so it's very likely the tomb robbers who actually very badly mistreated her mummy, we don't quite know. But the reason that her hair is wavy and brown is simply because the mummy has been mistreated. No rocket science there. Now, this mummy is Yuya, and Yuya is not a natural blonde. In fact, there's nothing natural about this blonde hair colour. As you can see, his hair is a shocking yellow. And as you can imagine, he's been mummified for 3,000 years. He has shocking yellow hair. The reason that his hair is straight is probably the same reason that his hair is a shocking yellow. The resins that are used throughout mummification are very, very strong. And this one, on this occasion, has had some chemical reactions that even the scientists struggle to explain. So there's nothing natural about this hair colour. Hair changes all kinds of wild and wacky colours when unknown chemicals are applied to it, and this just happens to be one of those chemical reactions. And bear in mind how tightly their hair is wrapped and how tightly it's compressed. It's very, very normal for ancient Egyptian mummies to be found or exhumed with straight or wavy hair as a result of the compression and the wrapping process that takes place. Now, here's a bonus. Yuya's cephalic index is 70%. Now, this is extreme dolichocephaly. In fact, this kind of dolichocephaly is something that could only be found in African groups and be normal. So either Yuya was extremely disabled European or he was a normal African. You decide. Now, this mummy, as good looking as he is, this mummy in fact is from 300 AD, which is the Hellenistic period or the Roman period, and you can see from his full grown beard that he definitely was not Egyptian. It was actually vulgar for an Egyptian to be buried with their beard showing, so it's very likely this person would have been Levantine or Eurasian origin. So yes, you've probably found one of your European mummies here, but unfortunately it's not a pharaoh and it's not an ancient Egyptian. And this guy, this poor fella, is not even Egyptian. He's from Peru. So this is a Peruvian mummy. Peru's about 12,000 kilometers away from Egypt. I think Occam's razor would suggest that this guy is much more likely to be Peruvian than to be an ancient Egyptian. Now, I actually feel quite sorry for you. You do seem like someone who is young, you're finding your way, and to be honest with you, you know, you could probably do with a bit of comfort from people around you. So I would just say, if you are, you know, someone that's slightly older, or maybe who is unknowing about this subject, please don't follow this guy as a source. He's clearly got some growing and some mental and some acceptance issues. He's quite happy to say that he was using the N-word to try and impress a girl. You know, it's not the kind of guy that you want to use as a source for any kind of history. There's clearly a lot of dishonesty that's gone into this post. But once again, you know, we're all just finding our way. So, you know, I hope that this video was informative for you. You've learned something new. And most of all, you don't think that the ancient Egyptians look like this guy. Because they simply didn't.